Welcome to the second episode of the What You Need to H2Know podcast, where we feature the people, places, and projects of Ontario's water community. I'm Michele Grenier, the Executive Director of the Ontario Waterworks Association, and I'm excited to kick off our journey by introducing you to one of our newer industry leaders. Today we have guest Ujwal Zore. Ujwal hails from India and holds a bachelor's degree in chemical engineering. He earned his master's degree in civil and environmental engineering from the University of Waterloo, where he was mentored by Dr. Peter Huck and Dr. Sigrid Pelzus. Currently, Ujwal is a wastewater process engineer-in-training at AECOM. Further, he's a member of OWWA's Diversity and Member Engagement Committee, also known as the DMEC. Ujwal is passionate about fostering strong connections with water professionals to exchange ideas and collaborate on innovative and sustainable projects. So whether you're tuning in from the office, on your commute, or out in the field, sit back and get ready to hear from a fresh mind in the water industry. Let's dive in. So first off, welcome, Ujwal. Thank you for joining me today. I'm really excited to have this chat with you and learn more about you. And I'm going to start off by asking you a couple of introductory questions and trying to learn a bit more about this early stage of your career in the water industry. So what excites you the most about starting your career in wastewater process engineering?
First of all, thanks for inviting me to the podcast, Michelle. This is a wonderful opportunity for me. Now, to answer your question about what excites me the most, well, I have a professional answer and a personal answer. My professional answer would be that it's just the thought of starting from scratch and then working with some visionary and hardworking individuals in the water industry, and then building something that will serve the humanity by providing them safe drinking water is what excites me the most. And if I have to answer personally, that would be the reason I have. Now that I work in the water industry, I can literally wear blue dress every day to the work. So that's what excites me about working in this industry.
That's fantastic. I know one of the things that keeps me so engaged in the water industry is that personal connection people have to their work. Let's talk a little bit about your academic background. And so, how do you feel your academic journey, particularly your master's program, prepare you for the challenges of the water industry?
Um, well, I won't say only my MASC, but I can say that it's the countless interactions I have had with all the supervisors I've worked with, starting from Professor Sri Sonawane. I was working under him in the first year, the freshers year of my undergrad degree. And that's where I started working in the water industry. And then also to Dr. Peter Huck and Dr. Pelzis, who were my MASC supervisors. So I had so many interactions with them, so many dialogue exchanges with them. And it's more about what they taught me during these interactions than what I learned in my coursework. Of course, I learned a lot during my coursework as well, but it was during this one-on-one interactions with my supervisors when I understood how to approach a problem. And then I won't say how a challenge can be um, how I can work on a challenge. Rather, I would say how to make that an opportunity is what my supervisors taught me to. And yeah, basically, that's how it's this interactions with my supervisors that prepared me for the challenge in the water industry.
Wow, it's amazing to see how even early on, so many people have already made their mark um, and influenced you already. Um, Thinking about that a little bit more, was there a specific project or area of research during your studies that influenced your interest in water and wastewater processes?
Hmm, that's a tough one. I have worked on variety of projects, but if I have to pick a topic, That would be process optimization and process intensification. So most of the projects that I have worked on till now circle around this domain. Now, process optimization is what everyone has heard about, but process intensification is not new, but it's not as much heard as process optimization. So, what process optimization is that we have a compact device that can do the same work as a large process train, thereby saving energy, money, and space. So this is what I liked the most and I was fascinated by the most. And then during my undergrad, I just felt that water industry has a lot of potential uh, in process optimization and intensification. And that's the main reason I decided to work in the water industry and try to make this happen, try to process intensify. So, yeah, it's process intensification and optimization. That's the topic that I love the most.
Well, and I think it's very timely because certainly we need to continue to find ways to do more with less, and that's a really interesting field. And I've always been a big fan of optimization projects myself. So we'll have to talk about that more another time.
Sure.
um, so so the leap from academia to industry can be tough. Let's talk about your experience with that transition. What would you say has been the biggest adjustment leaving school and that research side to working as an EIT in the industry?
Uh, Well, there have been a lot of changes. Of course, I have to be more mature now that I'm working on real world projects and which can impact real lives. So I have to be more careful. So if I have to say the biggest adjustment I had to is to put the sense of responsibility and accountability in me when I'm working on projects because now I have this. I know the fact that I am working in a field which has to serve a lot of people around. So I cannot make any immature decisions or I have to think it through. And also the biggest change for me would be the sense of accountability and responsibility while I'm working. And on the funny side, it's the timely filling of the timesheets that I have to do. That's a new thing for me. But yeah, yeah, mostly it's accountability. That is the huge change that I've seen while doing the transition.
Wow. Yeah, that's I think anyone who's worked in consulting has felt the pain of timesheets. So but it's a good experience in the long run and certainly does reinforce that accountability piece as you mentioned. So aside from timesheets, what was your first impression of the water wastewater process engineering field once you started working in it?
Hmm. Phew. Uh, I would just say I knew that it's not going to be easy. I still remember my first team meeting that I had. So in that team meeting, everyone was talking about the projects they were working on, with all the technical details and the mysterious abbreviations, which I still am not clear with at this stage. But yeah, that's what I felt. It's definitely not an easy thing. It's stressful. It's a lot of technical things. It's all about how we communicate the complex ideas, and also I knew what I was getting into, and I knew that it's not going to be easy. But then fast forward, now I am working on those projects, and I'm able to also talk in that language now. And if I have to say what, although it's still challenging for me, what's keeping me going is when my manager tells me that, hey, you're not alone in this. Even my connections tell me you're not alone in this. So that's the biggest thing. I know it's not easy. That was my first impression. It still is my impression that it's not easy, but I have to keep going.
Yeah. Um, Thanks for sharing that. I think that's really impactful and reflective of of how OWWA looks to help build that community. So it's lovely to hear that you have that sense of connection at work, right? Is there is there anything else that's changed your perspective on the industry since you went from being a student now moving into the workforce?
Well, I think I'm quite new to the industry. I still think I'm quite new to the industry, and it might be quite early to say if there was any other change in the perspective of me as compared to what I had when I was a student. So maybe I won't be able to answer that now, but in the future podcasts or something, I will be
Yeah.
willing. I might have a better answer for this question at that stage.
Yeah, no, I totally understand. And from what I've heard so far, it does seem like you had a very good picture of our industry, as you mentioned, thanks to some of those people you had a chance to work with during your master's degree. So perhaps you were already very well prepared. Um, so, um, on that note, as someone new to the industry, you do bring a new perspective, that's probably unique from some of our other members. And excuse me, let's dive in to see, how you'd see yourself contributing to the industry in the future. And first, I'll ask, in what ways do you think this new, fresh perspective as a recent graduate benefits your team and projects?
Well, fresh perspectives. I am quite fresh, so yes, I'm definitely trying to bring as much as to the industry. And but what comes to my mind now, and what I've seen in the past few months, is that I have been through a really dynamic academic environment during my MSc degree. And what I figured out was that a collaborative and an adaptive mindset always helps you to approach a problem in a synergistic way and in an inclusive way. So, well, that's something that the perspective of working together and having an adaptive mindset is what I bring to the team. And also, apart from that, I'm quite tech savvy. So when it comes to using softwares and a lot of new programs and all, I am quite interested and quite involved in that. So that's something that I bring to the team and to the industry, that you were using Microsoft Excel initially, but you can save tons of time by using Python or any other programming language. You can automate things and all those things. So that's something that I bring to the team. And last but not the least, this is something that I guess every young professional brings to the team, and that is a lot of energy and enthusiasm. And I think that's what that might be touching the morale and can increase the productivity of the team. So it might not be a perspective, but this is what I think I'm bringing to the team, so that we work in a good atmosphere.
Wow, I'm going to have to follow up with you after and get some tips on some of these tech savvy skills that you offer, because it sounds like I need some help. And this next question is similar to the answer you just gave, but maybe you can talk a little bit more kind of on the personal side, in that as somebody who's new to the workforce, do you find challenge between feeling that you're always learning and then feeling like you're making that contribution effectively?
Most of the times I'm still learning now, because one thing I can honestly say is that things are quite different as a student and when you're actually working in industry. You have to see things um, while making sure that you have a budget and you have time constraints and all those things. So um, well, although most of the times I'm learning, what I try to do so as to contribute effectively is that I ask my manager to give me tasks which would involve applying the skills that I'm learning while I'm doing the courses and the training that I have to go through. Like for example, um, I used to be scared of drawings and designs, and that was not something that I was given a lot of experience with during my school time. So I was like, let's take this because it's required for my PNG license. So I asked my manager, uh, can you give me a project which will involve heavy learning about designing aspect of the project? And so what they did is they gave me a task which is quite technical and also tiring, but they gave it to me. It's wherein I have to design the pump stations and I have to do some pump hydraulic work, and that involves a lot of um, going to the drawings, making sure that you do some math and calculations and all those things. So that is just an example. That is how I'm making sure that while I'm learning, I'm also applying the knowledge so that it gets deep into my brain and it sticks there. So that is how I'm learning, and I'm trying to contribute to the team and making sure that I am I'm becoming quite good at that aspect of the industry, which is designing. So this is just an example.
Wow. That's amazing that you got such an opportunity to do such a deep dive early on and use it as an opportunity again to, deepen your skills, but still feel like you're providing value. It sounds like an incredibly supportive environment.
Well, again, it's not easy,
Yeah,
but I guess we have to choose the path which is not easy. That's where you grow and learn. So yeah,
yeah,
I'm taking that path.
absolutely. Um, well, we are so happy to have you as one of our OWWA volunteers, and I'd like to share with our listeners a little bit more about your work with us so far. Um, and your involvement with OWWA, especially the DMEC committee, is impressive for someone so early in their career. So I'd love for you to share a little bit more about that experience. Can you tell us, how did you first hear about OWWA and what inspired you to get involved with the Diversity and Member Engagement Committee?
Oh, sure. So I remember the first time I got associated with OWWA was as soon as I came to Canada. As soon as I started my master's under Professor Peter Huck and Dr. Sigrid Pelzis. So both my supervisors, both of them are also OWWA members, and you might know Dr. Sigrid Pelzis were actually on the committee as well. So they advocated this thing that we should become a member because it will open a lot of gates for us. And they also told that as a student, you can avail um, the reduced membership prices. So discounted, I should say, discounted membership prices as a student. So you should definitely use that. So that's how I first got involved with OWWA. And since then, I guess I just got deeper and deeper. I attended conferences, and then I even, not just I, but we had few other water enthusiasts who wanted to create the OWW students chapter at the University of Waterloo. So we kind of became the founding members. I was the director of the the students chapter, and how I got involved with DMAC is based on my previous student roles, which mostly involved um, have organizing engagement and social activities. So I already had lots of experience in that. And when I was going to the committee list, I was like, oh, I see engagement committee. So that's what enticed me. And I was like, I think I will be a good fit for this. I still have to learn a lot about diversity, inclusion, and equity, but this is something wherein I can actually provide and do few things. That's how I ended up in the DMAC committee, and I'm planning to stay as long as possible.
That's fantastic. Like I said, we are really happy to have you. Talking a little bit about the point you just made about wanting to learn more about some of OWWA's DE&I activities. What does that mean to you personally in terms of diversity and member engagement? And why do you think it's important in the water sector?
Oh, I guess it's very, very important. Not I guess, I think it's really important. Why do I think that? In these 3 years of being a part of OWWA, one thing I um, have understood is that it's not a big industry. It's not as big as the tech industry. It's a small world. Being a small world, you are you will have a lot of mutual connections. I'm sure that you talk to someone and you talk about people and they're like, oh, I know this guy or I know this person. So what I feel is because it's a small world, we should make sure that we are able to embrace the diversity and learn to work together with everyone so that we can make the best impact. That being said, I still remember the quote that I heard from Celine Dion, who is quite famous, and she said, "If you want to go fast, you go alone, but if you want to go far, you go together." So I think that is what is most important in the small world of the water industry. If you are going together, if you embrace diversity, you will definitely succeed, not as a person, but as a group. So that's why it's really important for us to think about diversity and include that in all the decisions we make.
Yeah, I love that quote. And I totally agree. And I think it's like you said, with such a small community, I think we need to recognize that the industry is not all that reflective of the communities we serve, and we have a lot of work to do to get there. And but like you said, we won't get there unless we go together.
Yes.
um, yeah. So you touched a little bit on your involvement with OWWA and how the conference was a part of your window into the full scope of OWWA. And so we met ever so briefly at the conference and trade show this year, which is really a pivotal moment for many young professionals. But the opportunity we had where I got to meet you is that you were selected as the winner of the Michael R. Provart Award, which is the scholarship that the OWWA has been handing out for over 20, almost 25 years now, I think. And this year you were awarded the first prize for the best presentation in the university research session. And so first off, I'd like to say congratulations.
Thank you.
Very well deserved. But outside of the competition, which I'm sure was stressful, what was your experience like at the conference, and what were some of your key takeaways?
Oh, first of all, thank you for the kind words, and I'm really generous to OWWA and the donors for accepting me and giving me that award. It basically impacts a lot the way I will be seeing my future and how people will be seeing me now. So that was huge. So thank you again for that. Uh, in 3 years, I have attended about 4 conferences. I don't think I have missed a single OWW conference in the past 3 years. I attended the 2022 conference and trade show, and then ACE conference in 2023, the WQTC conference in 2023, and then recently again in 2024, um, the conference and the trade show. So I still remember in my first conference, I basically had presentations in all these conferences, and they were all podium presentations, and which I liked the most. So I still remember the first time when I was at the conference and I had to present. I solely be- I was completely dependent on the notes that I prepared for my presentations because I was not confident. I was quite nervous. And then I was like, I don't want to say anything wrong. So I will just stick to the notes. I was not confident. But then this year, I attended the same conference and then I could see the way I became more confident and I didn't have to use the notes at all. I didn't have notes because I basically forgot. Uh, but then I think during the conferences, I gained the confidence I wanted. And then I also made a lot of connections who are still quite near to me and are helping me while I'm transitioning into the industry. So, talking about that, um, that being said, now that I was while I was not presenting, I used to roam around. I used to be on the trade show floor I would talk to the vendors, and then they would give me freebies. That was the plus that I used to get. But then I also talked to a lot of other professionals and then learned from them, and that just was quite good. And then some of them also used to invite me for the special evenings that they used to organize. And you used to be quite proud that, hey, you got invitations from them. And also, there were, so overall, there used to be a lot of talking, uh, a lot of listening, and then Wait, if I have to give, like, what were my key takeaways from here would be that make sure that you are well hydrated during the conference because there will be so much that you will be doing. Keep your eyes and your ears wide open because there is so much to see, so much to learn. And then also do not keep your hands in your pockets because you will be shaking hands with so many people. So do not do that. And last but not the least, do not forget that bright smile because that's what attracts people. So, this is my key takeaway. Do not forget that bright smile when you're at the conference. It's a game changer.
Yeah. Wow. I think that's fantastic advice. Um, and you've already started answering my next question, but I'm going to ask you anyway, that networking can be really intimidating, especially when you're new to the industry or, a young professional. Sometimes approaching a seasoned professional can be very intimidating. So we've got stay hydrated, keep your hands out of your pocket and smile and eyes and ears open. I think those are all great tips. Do you have any other thoughts about or advice to share in terms of how you can build those connections at conference? Maybe once you're past the initial introduction, how do you get into meaningful conversation?
Oh, I would love to talk about that. But before that, I just want to tell some background story about me. I had stage fright, and I was kind of, and so I'm still an ambivert, but I was more towards an introvert side till I was 18. I could not talk to people. I would shiver on the stage and all those things. So I would avoid all those situations till the time I was
Wow.
18 years old. Things changed in when it was my 19th year. What I did is that I took a step and I decided to go on and I decided to go abroad for internship, and the place I decided to go was Japan. So while I was there, few things I had to do is that I had to communicate because otherwise they have their language and everything. So it's not easy to navigate. So I had to talk, I had to be confident and all. And sometimes I also had to learn the language because they might not be comfortable speaking. So why told you this story is that this is what gave me a huge learning that if you want to talk to a new person, you just need two things. One, you should have the confidence, and second, you should know the language. I'm not saying Japanese, but you should know how to talk to that person. This and what do they want to talk about? If they want to talk about sports, start with sports and then get to the topic, something like that. So do some research about the people you want to talk to, and then just you're confident because you know stuff, and then you can talk. So that being said, if you have confidence and if you can speak the language, you're the smartest salesperson. And that's what you need when you are talking to a new person. So be a smart salesperson, be confident, and just know the language. And that's all you need.
Wow. I like that. One thing I heard about recently on another podcast, which I thought was useful in these types of situations, is an idea of 20 seconds of courage. And that's all
Uh-huh.
it takes to really say, okay, I only have to be brave and take that first step, and then things should unfold from there. But I also like your follow up on that would be 20 seconds of preparation.
Well, that's new for me. That's new for me. I think
Yeah,
I should add that to my note. And I
there you go.
think that is a wonderful technique as well.
Fantastic. Um, Do you have any other highlights, like a favorite moment or interaction from the conference and trade show this year that you'd like to share?
From this trade show or any trade show?
Any trade show.
Okay, so I would talk about the first trade show and the first OWWA conference. And there were so many things that were happening. But the best part for me was the YP Cup. So I still remember we didn't know that there is something like a YP Cup that is organized, but all I knew is that I like trivia and I like to win. That's all I knew. And YP Cup was something where I could show myself and introduce as a person to the people in the water industry. So now the thing is, they told me we have to have a team, and I didn't have a team. I quickly grabbed one of my colleague, Kirti, and she was a second young professional. Now we wanted two seasoned professional, and I was like, whom to talk to? I don't know anyone here. So we basically roamed around. We talked to a lot of people, and we ended up getting Don Rankin and Jamie Witherspoon. Jamie Witherspoon is the trivia wizard. He knows more than any professional I've ever seen or ever met. So I think I was quite lucky to have all these professionals in my team. And then fast forward, we did win the YP Cup, and that was quite huge for me. Um, the best part of this is that that's when my confidence boosted, that if you want to talk to someone, just go there, just approach, and they are willing to help you, or they are willing to um, support you and talk to you. So just go there. So this was the best moment for me, which not just we won the YP Cup, but also boosted my confidence as to how I could interact with seasoned professionals there. So just do things. Things will happen.
Yeah, I think that's such a great story. And as you were chatting, I thought back to, I think it was the first time I went to the OWWA conference. And same, I didn't know anyone, and I went to the YP Cup, and I happened to run into a few people I did know, but I hadn't met in person. We had just corresponded over email before, and suddenly the environment is so much more welcoming when you're not on your own, right?
Yeah.
And so I think for 2025, I think we should plan now to enter a YP Cup team together, you and I. And so let's see, let's find another YP and let's give Jamie a call and see if we can get you a repeat here.
Game on. I am in.
Yeah.
I am in. Yeah.
Okay.
Because I think Don Rankin is in the US. I'm not sure. I think he came for that OWW conference, but he mostly in the US. So I'm not sure if he will come. So I wanted a new team member. So there we
Okay.
go. Now I know whom to talk to.
There we go. It's a plan. Um, Okay, so as you continue to grow in your career, it's great to reflect on the tools and support that help young professionals thrive. I guess YP Cup is one of them that we'll have to add to this list. But aside from that, what resources or tools have been most helpful in your transition from student life to industry?
Hmm. Well, I'm not sure if I could call them tools because they are no one but my dear connections. Those are the most valuable resources I think I have. It includes all the supervisors, Professor Peter Hug, Dr. Sigurd Pelzis, and then all the water professionals, starting from Dr. Hemant Arora, who I worked with during my master's, and then Dr. Alex Chen, and then Alfredo Rodriguez. He works at CDM Smith. Ian Ian Morgan, Ian Moran, Ian from WSP. I'm not sure if I remember his family name correctly. Um, and then Emily Curling from the city of Toronto. She has helped me a lot. And I can just keep going. There are just so many people. So I think those are the most valuable resources who just came in my life and just helped me whenever I was stuck. So I think for me, that is the most valuable resource that has helped me transition in this industry.
Yeah, those are all amazing mentors. And
Yes.
shout out to Emily Curling, who is the chair of the DMEC, and really a great advocate for OWWA. So thinking about the DMEC again, are there any projects or initiatives within that committee that you're particularly excited to work on?
Well, there are a lot of good initiatives that DMAC does at this stage, and I was recently a part of the member appreciation event, which I helped organize. But what's the dearest to my heart, which is quite recently started, the initiative, it's the mentorship program. That's what I want to give my heart and soul to. Um, I just know that I have seen a lot of things while I was a student, and I have experienced a lot of things. So I want to make sure that all the knowledge and the learnings that I've got from that experiences, I can share. Um, I can possibly share with the juniors and, or I could say the next generation professionals for us. Um, Now, I also am completely aware that everyone has their own understanding of these things, so they might not get where I'm coming from. But what I want to make sure is that I listen to their story as well. And then we can mold this mentorship program so that they meet their needs. So basically, I want to work quite a lot in on the mentorship program so as to help the next generation young professionals as much as possible.
Wow, that's fantastic. I know we get a lot of feedback that the program is really valuable. It's been quite small so far, so I'd love to work with you or invite you to provide more feedback to us into how we can really grow that so that more people can benefit from that experience. Um, and speaking of that and NYPs, I think you're in a great spot to provide, to share some wisdom with our other sort of newer members. And on that note, what advice would you give to other recent graduates about being involved with the industry and organizations like OWWA?
Um, well, well, I will first put myself in the shoes of a recent graduate, and then this is what I will say. Uh, OWWA is where I first attended and presented at the conferences. OWWA is the place where I made connections through the presentations and all. I talked to people, and then these connections helped me get my employment opportunities. Like I did not have to apply for any jobs. I just asked around, and they were like, "Hey, I think we have some openings in our company. So why don't you join us?" So what I want to say is, OWWA had been. It's not exactly handing out the opportunities, but it's like a platform wherein you can find these opportunities, because as I said earlier as well, or the water industry is quite small. So I feel everyone is a part of OWWA. So if you are a part of OWWA, you can make the best out of this industry. So I don't see any reason why you cannot be a part of this, because if you want to see your career in water industry, this is where you can get everything, because this is where everyone is. So that's the only thing I would say, or like why someone should be a part of an association like OWWA.
Yeah. Well, that's great. It's good to know that that it's working. Uh,
It's definitely
uh,
working.
yeah, fantastic. And I think you have a tremendously bright future ahead of you, having had a chance to chat with you just briefly today. So, um, I would love to know more about what excites you most about the future of your career and the contributions you're so obviously going to make to the water industry.
Okay, this might be a bit sentimental, but what I would like to see is that in few years, it can be decades as well. I am driving in GTA or somewhere in Ontario with my family and my friends. And then I get to say that, hey, look at that plant. That's where I worked. And that is what my bread and butter is. And maybe one day I can say that I was the principal engineer for this particular wastewater or water treatment plant. And that won't just make me proud, but it will also make everyone around me feel that what this guy has done is impactful. It has created a tangible impact on the environmental sustainability and is serving the humanity. So that is what I like to do, and that is why I want to keep moving forward in this industry to see that day, to be frank. So yeah, that's it.
Yeah, so inspiring. It's yeah, it's a wonderful reminder that the work we do is so important, right?
Yep.
In terms of protection of public health, reliability of the system, the understanding, the public's understanding of the value of drinking water. I think all of those things are very. It's a noble calling. Um, So on that note, while we let our listeners digest that a little bit, we have some fun questions for you to get to know the personal side. And so, outside of your work with OWWA, what are some of your hobbies or interests?
Oh, well, I think a day will be less to talk about those. I have there are so many things, but to keep it short, I am an outdoor enthusiast. I like to hike. I like to go for portage canoeing, and then I like to stargaze. You can see my telescope right behind me. So moon is the one that I stalk the most at this stage, is what I would say. But I keep looking at other things as well. Talking about hiking, me and my crew are currently on the voyage to finish the whole Bruce Trail.
Oh, wow.
It's about 900 kilometers, and this year we have covered about 150 kilometers in about 4 sections, and we have one more planned in the month of December. So I that's what I like to do the most. I like to see the nature. I like to be in nature and see things differently. Um, Apart from that, I my main sport is badminton, but then I am completely aware that I'm growing old and that people want to give chance to young athletes. So that's why I decided to get into what's called the old man sport, which is um, running. So I run competitively 5 kilometers, and uh, I want to see all those shiny medals coming in my home because I like to, as I said, I like to win. Um, Apart from that, I have recently started baking. That's new, but that is a new hobby that just calms me down just to see that baking process. It's quite, you have to be quite patient, but then the fruits are quite like what you, the end product is just quite sweet. So yeah, a lot of things. And in the future, my hobbies might change as well. Oh, talking about music, I'm a self-taught flautist. It's a woodbine
Oh,
instrument.
wow.
So I have been practicing flute for about 6 years now, but not like not that much into it. But I like to play anime music on flute and some devotional music on flute. So that's my thing. So I guess a
Oh
lot.
my goodness. So you're a busy guy. And
I
I'm
try
going
to
to
keep
say,
myself busy. Yes.
if you're getting old, then I'm in trouble.
No way. No, no, no.
But well, we have several shared interests, so I think we're going to have to explore those. I recently been dabbling in sourdough starters, and I like the chemistry and biological aspects of that, but it's also very time consuming. So we'll have to debrief that at another time.
Yeah,
Um, if you could have any superpower, what would it be and why?
that's a difficult one. Uh, okay. So if I have to stay at this stage, it would be the ability um, to breathe underwater and be able to um, so basically I would like to breathe underwater and then be able to withstand the immense pressure as we go deep down, because all I want to do is just like I run 5K, I want to swim 5K and see that uh, beautiful depths of the oceans, and hopefully I don't get eaten by the dangerous creatures inside. So maybe a something that could make me stronger than them, so that I'm careful. I have like, yeah, so basically something that would let me explore the deep uh, depths of the oceans. So that's like they call them Aquaman. So
Like
maybe if I have
Aquaman.
that
Yeah.
superpower, yeah, maybe.
Okay. Very cool. We've talked a little bit about the people who've had an opportunity to influence your studies and then your early career. Um, so, and this question is similar to that, but maybe it doesn't have to be related to your studies or your career. But who has been a significant influence or mentor in your life?
Oh, no doubt, without any doubts, it's my father. He started his journey from scratch, and then he became well reputed in his medical profession, and he slowly built his own empire. So I think he taught me to never give up, to always help people as much as possible, and to keep growing and keep guiding. So I think he is the one who always kept me on the right path. So he is the major influence I have in my life.
Wow. I'm sure he's very proud of you as well.
He was just here
And
for my convocation, so I spent really good time with me. He and my mom was here as well, so like quite good.
fantastic. And the last question I have for you today, what's a favorite book, podcast, or movie that you'd recommend to a friend or colleague?
Oh wow, a favorite one that okay. They are just so here's the thing. I don't remember the names of the books and all those things. So to be on the safe side, what I will say is that I think every book has something to learn from, and every movie has something to learn from. So uh, just just start watching and just make sure that you reflect after you finish reading a book and finish watching a movie, so that um, you learn or you understand what you learned from that particular book or movie. So just pick up anything or just start watching anything, and I'm sure anyone will learn anything from it.
Yeah, that's a great piece of advice. I just want to tell you, it has been such a pleasure chatting with you today. We've been going close to 50 minutes, and it's gone by in a flash for me. And so I just want to say thank you so much for your time and for being so open and willing to share your experiences and your advice for other young members and new members of the industry. And I think people are really going to enjoy getting to know you through this. And I dare say, when you come to conference this year, there's going to be a line of people looking for that smile and ready to shake your hand and pick your brain, because there are some real gems that you were able to provide today. And so, did you have any sort of closing comments or anything before we sign off here?
Well, first of all, thank you, Michelle, and thank you to OWWA for giving me this opportunity. And I hope as many people, as many young professionals get to see this, watch this, and then reach out to me if they have any questions or something. And if I have to say something as a closing statement, it would be um, to all the young professionals out there, let's catch up sometime over literally anything. You like coffee? Although I don't drink coffee, but still I will be. What I know is that we both will learn something from each other. So just reach out and let's just meet, to all the young professionals out there. That's my message to them. Thank you again, Michelle.
Yeah. Thank you so much, and we'll chat again soon.